2, 1. Shark Week! Ugh! And that's Shark Week, baby, because we are celebrating the shark season with some shark attack movies. Not Shark
Baby
Attack
shark,
movies.
do 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 do
Because
do.
we're only talking about Shark Attack 3, but not the first two, because the first two don't
Baby
matter.
shark.
Baby Shark. I am your host, Ian Taylor, and I want to let you know that people have accused me over the years of being this pretentious asshat that only likes indie garbage and A24 flicks. Well, I'm here to tell you that I enjoy schlock. I enjoy fucking 90s, 80s ass garbage just like any other person, and this episode will prove it because holy shit, at least 2 films fit that bill. One of them is actually good, and you can probably guess which one as we get into the discussion. I'm your host, Ian Taylor. Joining me tonight, as always, as my co-host, Devon King. And who is this mysterious woman joining us tonight? Please introduce yourself.
Hey, name is Jess. I'm a bit of a film connoisseur. I like a bit of everything. I like a bit of indie. I like a bit of art house. I like a bit of nostalgia and total, again, like absolute like 90s, 80s. Like, um, yeah. I'm also a huge anime lover and proud weeb. So yeah.
Is the term weeb or otaku, or are they different levels, or are they kind of interchangeable?
That's a good question.
I would honestly, I would call myself both. I am probably the biggest anime nut known to man.
Well, what's the difference?
So like a weeb taku.
Yes, a weeb
A
taku.
weeb taco. Weeb taco.
So what's the difference between weeb and an otaku, anyways?
Otaku's more on the collectible side, like more figures and general collectibles.
Okay.
Weeb is just generally anime, manga.
So Devin,
love
I guess
of
that
anime.
makes you a weeb.
I guess so. I don't. Yeah, I don't have too many figurines, but I do have a few artifacts here and there. I try to keep them. Like I actually remember picking up a little bag of those little forest spirits in Princess Mononoke.
Ooh,
they had a bunch of like glow in the dark ones around, and I'm like, I'm buying that, and I just kind of have them in random places on my shelves. So you know, just little things like that, like nothing too crazy, but I like them.
Oh no, and same here. I have a few anime pops, and I have a few figures. I still need to get an Oscar figure. That's on my bucket list.
Oh yeah, I'd love to get an Oscar figure too, but then I'm seen a certain way. Then I got the Lance of Longinus instead. A little mini one. I want to get a full size one.
Nice.
Like I mean like size of a planet size one, like full scale.
Nice. I also want to get what's her Dorothy from Big O. That's another figure I heavily want to get from Big O.
Nice. I thought you said Dory at first.
I was picturing Dory from Finding Dory for some reason.
Yeah, Finding Dory or Finding Nemo.
Dorothy. Her name is. Dorothy.
Gotcha.
Like Dorothy from Wizard of Oz. Nice. Yeah. Devin, why don't you tell her what your favorite anime is?
I mean, it's probably no surprise, Evangelion, which we might be talking about the rebuild soon.
Yes.
Heads up.
Ooh,
stay tuned for that.
Yeah, Evangelion's one of mine as well, and yes, I love the rebuild film as well.
Alright, so I got a question about that actually. So we're going to be talking about Evangelion, the first rebuild, the second rebuild, the third rebuild. Are we going to talk about Thrice Upon a Time 3.0 plus 1.0 as well?
Oh, you definitely should. Like,
I agree. It's the only one I've seen, and it's incredible. It's the only
one I've seen. No, it really is.
The fact you went in without even seeing the other three is nuts to me.
It's not that
the first
bad,
one's
honestly.
retread, but oh man,
they do a good job of catching you up. There's a couple of characters.
I had to wait 10 years for that shit.
I know.
You just hop right into it. God damn it.
I hop right into it. 70mm IMAX screening, baby. Thank you, Fawn Ontario.
God damn it.
I feel your pain because I also had to wait years for the other films, and I was like,
I did go to a screening of the third one, which they literally just played the Blu-ray in a Cineplex. Like
Oh,
it
what
literally
the?
was the Blu-ray player.
oh,
But you know what? It was
oh.
still nice going there. But I'm like, man, I can't wait till the fourth one comes out. 10 years later, I watched it on. I like stay up after like a night shift, and I call my friend up, and just because it was premiering on Amazon Prime, and we both watched it at the same time on Amazon Prime. So it wasn't the theater experience I wanted, but COVID. So
Close enough.
that's how I saw it. It was still a good time. And then watching it with a friend of yours that's also really into the show just makes it all the better.
This is true, right?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
because I
definitely.
also watched all of the rebuild films with one of my friends, and we both enjoyed especially the last one. I will say, when G Kids drops that Blu-ray, I am buying that.
Yes.
Like,
100%.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't even care that it's on Amazon Prime. I feel like I need to buy it on 4K. But pushing from anime to movies that are arguably as dumb as anime. But we're not going to talk about those just yet. First off, we're going to talk about the reason why we have so many dumb shark movies in the first place. Mr. King, please take us away.
Will do.
Spoilers.
So, we are talking about shark movies, and we're going to start off with the king of shark movies, arguably the one that started this all, and is all to blame for the craze with sharks in the cinema, and that is 1975's Jaws from director Steven Spielberg. So I have a bit of a history, or rather a non-history with this film, because for years I had known about it, but I was indirectly not allowed to watch it for many years growing up, mostly because my dad saw it when it was in theaters, back when he was a kid, when he was like 8 or 9 years old, and he just experienced it like direct, raw, firsthand. He had no idea what it was about. He went in with his older, like, brothers and sisters, and he was absolutely mortified when he saw it. He had the raw, visceral experience of experiencing Jaws back in the 70s. And because of that, anytime it came up on TV, he would change the channel and I wouldn't be allowed to watch it, just because it would upset him. So I'd always been morbidly curious about this film for many years, but respectful of how it made him feel, so I never would watch it with him. Um, but that said, fast forward many years later, I did eventually go out of my way to watch it, and I thought it was great. I understand its place in cinema history, and I think it's done very, very well in terms of building up the suspense with the shark and creating a sense of dread, which of course was all taken from technical limitations that they had with the mechanical shark. I remember just finding out little bits of information about the production over the years, and that's what really intrigued me was, well, I knew that just from reputation that it was a terrifying film, but when I learned that the shark is fake and they had problems with it, that kind of humanized it, or it kind of broke the facade a little bit. I got interested in the technical elements of how it was put together. So that's how I kind of approached it from like the technical filmmaking aspect. And that's where I think it holds up best. At the same time, though, this film has also built this sort of, this unnecessary hatred towards sharks, who are basically, just like an animal out in the ocean. If you don't bother them, they generally don't go out of the way to bother you. And, I remember there being kind of a resurgence of documentaries coming up, like Blackfish and other ones that were trying to dissuade the myth of, these creatures, and how, because cinema has made them out to be this monstrous thing, that people have kind of been more cruel toward them. So, this the reputation of this film is a bit troubled, just like the waters that they swim in. But
Ayo.
I think it's a great film to look into, and this was like my second time watching it only, but I still think it holds rather well. It's really more the storytelling and the way it's constructed that really makes it work. All that said, though, I do feel remiss that we actually aren't talking about Gums.
Gums?
Which is the porn parody of Jaws that was covered
okay.
years ago. And yes, that exists. I never watched it myself. but you can find a Cinema Snob review, and I recommend it. It's one of the best things I've ever seen on the internet.
I need to watch it.
Can I just say one thing about that?
Go for it.
Nanny.
Gross. Yeah. What the fuck? Oh, damn.
Nanny?
So,
what?
Jess, what is your experience with Jaws? How did you first come across it?
Well, my aunt was watching me when I was a little kid, and Jaws is one of my aunt's favorite films. So she had the VHS tape, and now she has the Blu-ray of it because, of course, it's one of her favorites.
It's very interesting that she loved it. Where, in my experience, it was I had a family member that really hated it.
Polar opposites.
Interesting.
Well, she saw it in theaters like that in her youth, and and she absolutely loved it. It's one of the little about 3-year-old me. I was 3 when I initially saw it.
Wow. I had seen it in snippets when I was a kid. I will say that. Like I wasn't totally out of the water, so to speak. I did see snippets. I saw as much as I was allowed to. I'll say that much.
Well, so she put it on for me, and I watched it, and I liked it. Again, she showed it because it was pretty tame. So that was like it was
like pretty tame compared to today's standards.
Yeah.
And and then the more I saw it as I got older, the more I grew a appreciation for it. And honestly, I think it's a phenomenal film with some amazing camera work elements, just the element of tension and suspense, but also just like lovable characters that you just really grow to love. And honestly, it's a classic for a good reason, I'd say.
Nice. Well, I
more
have
than a few, I'd say.
For sure. I do have a bit of a confession to make. Alright, so I'm a pretty hardcore Spielberg lover, even though he hasn't made anything good since Munich. I grew up watching Jurassic Park 30 times. It's still one of my favorite movies. I have a horrible confession to make. I didn't see Jaws until a couple years ago. I know, it's been on my brain over the years. My parents talk about it all the time. I heard about the theme in SpongeBob. I heard the theme in Shark Tale. But I somehow haven't seen Jaws itself. Until the wonderful Highland Cinema in London, Ontario brought it the 35mm, and that was the first time I watched a 35mm film in that theater. And let me tell you, I definitely get the hype. I immediately bought the 4K after watching it in theaters, and it is a classic in every sense of the word. Like, it holds up so well. And I think a part of that is, like you said, Devon, because not unlike Alien, they had a ton of issues with not only the animatronic, but also the fact that it didn't look that great. Like, even at the time, they were like, yeah, this kind of looks like shit. Like, it doesn't really work. So a lot of it is just implied footage with some really clever, like, perspective shots, and we see, like, the victims dealing with the injuries. We don't really see the shark, like, eating away at them, which is a very wise decision. The film holds back just enough and leaves just enough to the imagination, not in a frustrating way, but just enough that you feel like a visceral terror from the action because you're seeing it from the perspective of these lovable characters and these real people. There's a scene in the movie I want to discuss right off the bat where and it's honestly, the scene makes me cry every time I watch it, and I've seen it like 10 times now. And it's the scene where the kid's mother comes up and like slaps him, and she says, like, my son is, and you didn't do anything, like, my son is dead and we can't bring him back. I'm just like, damn, I've never felt this way in a horror movie before. Like, it just cements the feeling that, no matter what they do, no matter if they kill the shark or not, it's not going to bring back the fact that this kid is dead. Like, it makes you realize, like, this isn't just a slasher caricature that was killed off for shock value. Like, this was a person with a family and a life, and every character feels that way. Even like the girl at the start of the movie feels like very human, like how she's just kind of awkwardly saying at the party and kind of running around, and it's not like the typical annoying teenager. It feels like a real character. And the town also on top of that has so much personality, so many cute little quirks, and yeah, it's just so much about this film works much better than it should, and I could definitely see why Spielberg's career blew up after this movie, because somehow he took a 2 month production, which is not a lot of time for a film like this, and somehow turned it into a masterpiece, even though everyone involved kind of hated the production. Like, even like the actors I read like did not get along at all. Like Richard Dreyfuss didn't get along with the main actor. I forget his name. He was also in 2010, which is a piece of shit. And also, like, the actor Robert Shaw would get drunk, like, constantly. They'd have to tell him to stop drinking. Like, that's real beer he drinks, and I'm pretty sure he's drunk.
Crap!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's also drunk in the scene where he gives that monologue. I'm pretty sure he's actually hammered for that, and they're just like, well, it's a good scene, so we gotta use it.
That's it's Roy Schneider you're thinking.
Yes,
which I thought, or yeah, Spear or whatever. But I liked him in 2010. I still like that movie, and I will fight you on that any day.
I know.
Also, you son of a bitch.
I have not seen it.
Good.
I have not seen
Save
2010.
yourself.
Oh no, it's not bad.
Okay.
But man, I'm jealous because I really wanted to see that screening that was at Highland. I mean, I think for a few years in a row they would show it on 35, and I'd always miss it because I'd always be off on vacation.
Yeah,
which isn't a bad excuse, but
Or it's like too, with a lot of their 35, it's like, I'd love to go to most of these, because most of the films I'm like, and then I look at the time and I'm like,
it is pretty late. Yeah, they do run pretty late.
Yeah, it's always pretty late. I can
like
bolster
midnight.
the fact that I saw Silence of the Lambs, Scanners, and Videodrome all on 35mm. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Videodrome.
One I really wanted to go see, and I'm still kicking myself for not, and that was my favorite horror film of all time, American Werewolf in London. I wish I went to that 35.
I've never seen that one.
Really?
I've actually never seen that one.
I think we should recommend it on the podcast sometime. Let's put down the list.
Classic.
But probably around Halloween.
But back to Jaws.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. That'd be a good one for Halloween.
Like, so much about Jaws just feels organic. Like, the fact that people will talk over each other, which never happens in movies, and it always bugs me. Like, that adds so much believability to the conversations, and
it feels very human, especially with that one scene you were talking about, because I felt the same way. I haven't seen the film in years, and I'm like, damn, this is just a genuine human moment.
Yeah, it really hits home, and I love, and the scene after that is like the perfect palate cleanser, and in my competition for the cutest scene in a movie, where a kid is like replicating like all of his movements, like he's clasping his hands, then he clasps his hands, and his wife is like crying in the background. It's like, Jesus. Like, normally those kind of scenes are like stupid in movies, where a character's like, oh, I did everything I could, I gotta drink my problems away. But again, those interactions just make it feel that much more genuine and believable. Like, they really do feel like a real family. And I always laugh at the joke at the start. It's like, back in New York, you'd say car. They're in the back and the yard by the car. I love that. And it also is like, hey, I know he's from New York. That's a nice, subtle, funny way of giving exposition. He's not from around here.
Exactly.
Yeah. A better movie about outsiders trying to blend into a rough environment than Terror on the Prairie. There you go, Steven.
I love talking shit about Steven when he isn't here.
Exactly, because I know he's listening, and I know he's just fuming at the mouth. And I wish you could have been on here, man. I still can't believe, as a horror fan, you haven't seen Jaws. Like, come on.
I think he did pick it up recently, but I don't know if he's watched it yet or not.
Yeah,
but
get on that, man.
He somehow he says he has both Deep Blue Sea and Jaws, but I don't know if he's watched either of them yet.
Oh my gosh, Oh my gosh, Deep Blue Sea was so hard for me to find, but I
It
finally
is.
just
Yeah,
said
I had to just
I
rent
just
it.
thought I finally just said fuck it and I bought it.
Yeah, fuck it.
I
Yeah.
literally like
I
it
mean,
was like it was like $8 on iTunes. I'm like, I'll buy it.
yeah, fuck it. Why not, right? It's
Yeah.
pocket change. It's really not that much money. And this film was the first time I watched it on my 4K Blu-ray, and holy, I've had
Ooh.
problems with 4K Blu-rays in the past. Like the Matrix, for example, like sucks out all of the green color in the Matrix world, which
Wow.
is really annoying and disappointing. But this movie is gorgeous. Like it looks brand new, and I noticed like the colors are like the oranges are a little harsher and the blues are a little harsher, but it actually works really well. Like those colors just work together for a
Mm-hmm.
movie like this. Like it looks like summer, you know, like not necessarily summer as we see it now, but kind of like a more nostalgic
It's got that
view on
like
it.
teal and orange kind of look, and
A little bit,
there's
but
a
it
whole
works.
process with
Yeah,
when they restore 35 millimeter films. There's a bit of leeway that they can take with the color grade if they like scan it into digital HDR. You have a wider color spectrum to work with, and you're always towing the line between preserving how the film celluloid itself looks versus how much do you want to maybe enhance this digitally. And you can do that
Yeah.
tastefully. And I think with films like this and The Shining, they've done some beautiful kind of faithful restorations where they just push it ever so slightly. Then there's other ones where they take more creative liberties, and
it
it's a bit of
doesn't
a
work.
controversial,
Yeah. I
take.
think that was a
Yeah.
big thing about like Godzilla, like the 2014 Godzilla, where the Blu-ray was dark as hell because like they wanted to make
Yes.
it like more atmospheric, but you couldn't see anything. And then I watched it on
Yes.
4K. I'm like, this looks so much better. Like I don't have to crank up the
Uh-huh.
brightness as much.
Uh-huh,
It's such a weird
exactly.
choice. Like I don't know why. I think it's just like an ego thing. It's like I'm gonna make this creative choice because like I'm so smart. Like I'm a genius. I could do better than these filmmakers. But you gotta realize that you gotta make a high quality product, but you also have to preserve the film's legacy and preserve what the imagery that made it
Hmm.
special, because that's what you're
Yes.
trying to do. You're trying to preserve. Exactly. Yeah,
Well,
and watching it this time, I didn't realize. Wow, this movie has some gorgeous cinematography. Like there was some beautiful camera
oh
work. I
yeah.
will always love that shot of the Jaws just hanging by the window and casing the boat that's leaving the harbor. Like I just that's a great like shot that kind of cements like the point of no return just for visuals alone.
Oh yeah.
A lot of this
Mhm.
camera work is like
Another
that.
one that I love is there's like one notable use of using a split diopter, which was used a lot in the 70s, kind of arguably overused, which is why it went out of fashion for a while, but then it was brought back. And again, this is one of those single shots where when he is looking at the kid swimming in the beach, knowing that there was like a shark attack recently, and this person comes up to him asking him, uh, some questions, and his attention is split between this guy in front of him and the kid that's far away, and
Yes.
it's like a perfect shot that encapsulates kind of that split in focus of sort of a split in his attention. So that is exactly what that filter was best used for when for just little moments like that. Also, I had known about a production company called That's a Bad Hat Harry. I had no idea what that line was referring to or what it was from until I saw this time. Like, holy shit, that's a line from Jaws,
Yeah.
and that's hysterical to me. I
Yeah.
think it was it House or what? I forget what show that I used to watch growing up that would have like just like a little insert card of a production company called That's a Bad Hat Harry, just thrown in at the very end. Uh, I'm
Damn.
guessing it was House, but I
Yeah.
forget.
I think that's about right.
I think it was House because I also used to watch House a lot as a kid.
Is that the horror movie House you guys are talking about?
No.
No, no.
It's a TV show.
It's a
Oh,
medical
Doctor
show with
House. Yeah. Yeah.
With Hugh
Is
Grant.
that the one
Yeah.
where he just shits on a anti-vaxxer for like 5 minutes? Yeah, I remember
Oh,
that show.
this was I guess it was Brian Singer's company. So it was there from The Usual Suspects and on. Yeah, House.
Womp
That's where I saw
womp.
it most.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well,
Crazy.
now you know where it's from, and I think that Jaws is gonna be kind of like how like Stephen felt about certain films we've talked about, where it's just been quoted and parodied so much that people would just find it kind of laughable. But really, like the soundtrack, I think is a perfect example of that. Like it perfectly encapsulates the film. But I noticed when I watched it this time, like my mom was chuckling at the soundtrack a few times, and I think it's just because it's been played absolutely everywhere. Like people made jokes on Letterboxd where it's like Jaws has the second best use of the Jaws theme behind SpongeBob. You know, it's just kind of been parodied to death like so many times over and over.
Oh well, SpongeBob also did a Nosferatu joke.
Oh yeah, talk about obscure adult humor.
Yes. No.
Yeah, when I was a kid, it's like, Dad, what's Nosferatu? It's like, I'll tell you one day. Don't worry.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. And he's just like, eh. Thank you, SpongeBob, and thank God rest your soul, Steven Hillenburg. The characters. We gotta talk about the characters. They're all great. Everybody feels like a real person, like I mentioned. Richard Dreyfuss, this is one of the few Richard Dreyfuss roles that I can bear to watch. He's not annoying for once. And of course, Richard Shaw, who's in the movie for 20 minutes, and he single-handedly steals the fucking movie. Holy shit. He's just, like, anytime I see, like, Robert Shaw in a different movie, I can't not picture him as anybody else. Like, he is just so, he's a sailor. Like, I'm sorry, he's a real-life sailor. You cannot tell me that this man is not a real-life sailor. I refuse to believe it. I just can't see him as anything else. And he perfectly encapsulates this movie, and it's kind of unfortunate that he was so difficult to work with, because I'd very much like to see him in more Steven Spielberg movies in the future, but apparently the reason he isn't was because he was just such a pain in the ass to work with. I think he even offered him a role in like Empire of the Sun, I think it was, and Robert Shaw straight up told him to fuck off and just hand up the phone. Yeah, they did not get along. I think that's also why Roy Schneider and I think Richard Dreyfuss is in later films. Was he in Close Encounters? I'm trying to remember. I think he was.
It's been years since I've seen it, so I would blank.
I haven't seen it in a while either. But yeah, all of the characters are great, and even like the mayor, where like he plays like the typical douchebag mayor who values money over like the safety of his civilians. But even he was like a little more nuanced than that character almost always is in these stories, which we will definitely get to later with Shark Attack 3. Where like he's kind of a dick, but you kind of see his perspective, and he is like genuinely shocked at the hospital when like people lose their lives, and the fact that his own kids like could have been involved in the accident with the shark. Like it gives him a little more nuance than like that character you normally see from that character. And I'd argue this movie kind of stirred that trope of like the incompetent leader that puts his feelings in danger because of money. And maybe that's where the communist themes come from, Devon. Let's talk about that.
I think what was that? Oh yeah.
So there's a video essay on Jaws that says the movie is an allegory for communism. I'd say it's more just anti-capitalist, but they basically said like, like the rich oppressive businessman. Sorry, go on.
No, you're misquoting. It's an allegory for capitalism.
Oh, I must have misread that.
Well, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if there was one for both, because like with any like major pop culture totem pole that's as iconic as this, people will read it and overread it one way or the other to fit a certain
agenda,
to fit a certain ideology. I mean, this is what video essays are. Like essayists, the whole point of an essay is to create an argument and use whatever facts or interpretations to support your claim. Which you can take either way. It's about a fish with teeth. It's called Jaws.
Yeah, come on. It's just a dumb shark movie, but it goes to show like kind of.
But even that, it's like that's like a disingenuous take. Like there is a lot more into it that you can read into, and you know, this didn't just happen. Like this was all created, and there was a lot of intent behind it, and there was a lot of trials and tribulations. That went into it, and then the effect that it's had on culture since then has been unmistakable. I mean, I've seen so many parodies and riffs on Jaws before I actually ever saw the movie. One of my favorite ones is Airplane, right at the very beginning of that film. It has like the plane flying through the clouds like a shark fin, and it's playing like its own version of the music. And I love that movie. We should talk about that one at
Yes,
some point.
we need to talk about Airplane, Hot Shots, and Top Secret sometime.
Okay, so so talking about little like references to like shark movies and stuff, and I know this is going to be a super obscure one, but again, this is a movie I loved when I was a kid. You can give me all the flack and hate, but the ending of Undercover Brother.
Oh yeah. That is a name I haven't heard in a long time. Holy shit.
Just him hanging from the helicopter. Huh? Shark!
Oh, I saw that clip, yeah. Oh, shark!
Yes, and he's just, yeah. I'm like...
Yeah, just like Beavis and Butthead just snickering in a corner. Was there anything...
I'm looking this up because I've never seen it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, was there any problems you guys had with this movie? Because mine are very minor.
Actually, no. Really?
Yeah, fair enough.
Because it's been so long since I've seen it. It was literally like I was watching it through like a new like perspective, and no, I didn't really have any problems with it at all. Some of the effects, yes, but knowing the problems that there were, that's not really enough to be like, it's like, it's still a classic. It's still a movie I enjoy
and it looks okay
immensely.
For the time.
Oh, absolutely. It still holds up.
For sure. And even when they do use the full animatronic, I still think they're smart enough that they use like a lot of close-ups and a lot of actors interacting with the shark. That doesn't look too bad. Like, they definitely did the best with what they had. My problems are like, I thought some of the extras were pretty unconvincing at points. Like, there's like the scene at the boardroom where it's like there's one lady going like, what are we gonna do about the beach? Like, everyone seems really chill. I'm like, okay, did a child not just get murdered at the beach? Like, why is everyone so calm? And even when like the child is getting murdered, they're all like running for the pool. I swear on my life there was one guy smiling. There was one guy who was just running, and he's just like, oh yeah, this is fun. I'm like, there's a child dying in the water! The fuck you doing? That extra clearly didn't know what he was doing. That was so funny. I literally freeze framed that, and I'm just like, what the fuck is that? I didn't even notice that.
Okay. Remind me later to look that scene up on YouTube and freeze, because I need to see this.
Oh, yeah. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
Oh, gosh.
Devon, were you, did you notice, like, some of the extras were a little bit weak, and some of the ADR, too, was also, like, pretty obvious ADR. That's a product of its time theme, but there were still points. Like, when the teenage couple is running at the beach, and, like, there's no like background Foley to their voices whatsoever. It sounds like crystal clear, even though they're right next to a freaking ocean. But that's it. Like, it's just minor technical difficulties like that, and like you said, Jess, given the hardships they faced, you can't really blame them for it.
No.
So yeah, it's nothing too bad. I mean, but yeah,
there was nothing that really stuck out glaringly at me this time watching it. I mean, again, the technicalities of how they tell the story are masterfully done. I like the use of the oneers, which, if you don't know, when they do a single take in films, Spielberg is known for doing these ones that aren't actually that noticeable. They're more done just to keep the story moving in an economic pace. And there's this one great shot when they're on the ferry, and he's giving him like the exposition about or the rundown about, we got to close the beaches, but the mayor obviously doesn't want to do that, and he's explaining to him why. And all that is shot in a single take on the ferry, going from land to the boat, or from one land to the other. And there's things like that I noticed definitely more in this run. Really, my issues with the film are more so outside the film, like the effect that it's had in terms of people's perception or misconception of how dangerous sharks are, which has led to a lot of problems, and also all these fucking shark movies.
Yeah, seriously, yeah, that's the big one right there. It's like, yeah, who cares about the misrepresentation of Shark because Sharknado happened because of this movie and free Jaws sequels. What the fuck?
We don't talk about this.
Except for Jaws: The Revenge, which is arguably kind of hilarious, but we don't talk about Jaws 2 or 3D. All right.
No.
I think you know what? Not much more to add about this one. I mean, it's Jaws. If you haven't seen Jaws yet, what the fuck's wrong with you? Go watch it. It's a classic. What would you guys rate out of 10?
I would give it a solid 9.5.
Nice.
Out of 10.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna go a bit higher with a 9.6 out of 10, which is reversed for something juvenile and funny.
Oh, it's yeah. We always have a 6. We always have a 6.9 rating in every episode, or the inverse, or the if you're gonna go like half of that. If it was really terrible, then you do a 3.4. Which you could turn into a math joke if you wanted to. 3.14 if you really wanted to push that one.
Some nice pie.
Or you could just say 42, which is literally the meaning of life.
Oh yeah, that's true. What would you give Jaws, Devon?
I'm gonna give it a solid 8. Again, it's not a film that I watched a lot growing up for obvious reasons, but I still enjoyed it immensely, and it's a classic for a reason. I wish I had a better take on it, but no, it's a solid film, and it holds up well.
Yeah, enough about that boring shit. Let's talk about dumb shark movies, starting with Deep Blue Sea. Take it away, Jess.
Hey, so I'm introducing the next movie, and okay, like, I will flat out say I fucking love Deep Blue Sea. It's been ages since I've seen it as a kid, and rewatching it, I'm like, my god, this film is fun. It is fun in the most literal sense. It has some great intense moments, and genuinely is a really fun film to watch. I don't get all the flack it gets. Oh, what is it about? So it is about a team of scientists in a underwater research facility, and they are genetically altering sharks' brains to find a cure for Alzheimer's. And just shit goes entirely wrong from there, and literally these sharks start to fight back. They're like, you know what? Fuck this. We're fighting back.
Yes. Okay, so Jess, you're. I think this movie's terrible, but I hold it on the same reins as Aquaman, where it's terrible, but it's also adorable. It's also very much a product of its time, and it's also a lot of fun. I enjoyed this stupid ass, terrible, dumb movie. I was never bored. It was always gloriously 90s. Everybody's got a nice face tan. Everybody's got long hair. There's lots of wife beaters. There's everything fucking explodes in this movie. 2 sharks die by exploding, which is incredible.
And also, don't forget LL Cool J.
Yep. Oh yeah, the LL Cool J, Samuel Jackson. Every '90s actor is here, and it's terrible, but I wouldn't want any other way. I love this stupid ass movie. It is bursting full of personality, and I wish these are the kind of bad movies we get more often. Just movies that make you smile. What about you, Devon? What do you think of Deep Blue Sea?
I mean, I had fun with it. It's the first time I had seen this one also. I mean, it was cool seeing Samuel L. Jackson in this. I think he was by far the best part of the whole film. There were definitely some ridiculous moments in it. It was interesting to me how the director had aspirations that he wanted this to be like The Exorcist, or like he was comparing it to all these really like high caliber horror films, and he really wanted to make sharks scary again, make them stronger, better, faster, like that Daft Punk song.
Yeah.
And in a way, he doesn't really succeed, but at the same time, he does have some. There's some funny moments. It's like such a fascinating failure of a film.
Yeah.
I guess it didn't do all that well, but it sort of inadvertently becomes kind of fun with how ambitious it was.
Also,
and I love the subversion of expectations in certain moments. I think the most talked about moment is when Samuel L. Jackson just very suddenly dies after making a very inspirational speech, which was honestly hilarious. Like
that moment still genuinely got me. I was like, oh shit.
Oh right. Yeah. Okay.
Like, oh shit.
Preface this. I didn't know anything about Deep Blue Sea going into it. I only read the tagline and I said, that sounds stupid. Let's watch it. Let's recommend it for the podcast. I wasn't expecting a early 2000s PS2 cutscene shark to hop out of the water, pull Samuel Jackson into the water, and two sharks do a wishbone. Oh, everyone gets brutally fucked in this movie. We talked about how Jaws cleverly works around brutal murders and just sees it from the people's perspective. In this movie, you get all of the action. People get a little bit overkill, a little bit edgy. This, they use Stellan Skarsgård as a fucking battering ram at some point to break the point.
I forgot he's in it. I forgot he's in this movie.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Literally, that moment in the film is I said, "This is the shark fuck you moment." Whoop! Oh, fuck you!
Oh, literally, yeah. Oh, and we haven't even talked about how the sharks were smart. They weren't, we're gonna use people as battery rams smart. They weren't, let's figure out how to work around certain pressure. To say it's goofy is a major understatement. That's like saying a goofy movie is the most normal deadpan movie imaginable. It is insane. This movie is insane. If there's one word review I'd have for this movie, it's insane. But it's also terrible. Let's talk about it. First off, this movie is a ripoff of Jurassic Park. Holy shit. It is borderline Jurassic Park. There's the beat of the story is the exact same. It's it opens up with a shark attempting to kill some innocent people, like how the dinosaur killed innocent people, the person at the start of Jurassic Park. Then it opens up with somebody that wants to oversee a facility with a scientist that works there. And then they, everything goes wrong, and there's a hurricane that stops everyone and traps them inside. Oh wow! And the storm is gonna make getting out difficult. Wow, where'd you get that? There's literally a scene where they flip the breakers. Not only do they flip the breakers, it also has a sound cue, like the scene where they're flipping the breakers in the first Jurassic Park. You couldn't just have them flip the breakers normally. You had to also rip off the fact that you're flipping off the breakers the exact same way. They are not even trying to hide it, and I wouldn't want it any other way. This is a better remake of the first Jurassic Park than Jurassic World is. I'll give it that.
It certainly it wears its influences on its sleeves for sure.
It wears its influences on its forehead, graffitied on so you can't get it off. To say it's on its sleeve is a major understatement.
Also, too, a little tidbit that I found out is apparently Deep Blue Sea is a cult classic.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Even the Metascore is the ratings are generally alright, it's not that bad. Roger Ebert infamously said, hey, this is a really fun movie. And I agree, Roger. Yeah. It is a fun movie, but that's way too high of a score. That's way too high. Yeah.
There is no hiding my love for this movie. It is just fun. It's freaking fun as hell.
It's not boring for one single minute. It's just
God, no.
Because somebody dies or explodes every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, somebody dies in a brutal way or something explodes. Go on.
Can we talk about one of the best shark explosions with LL Cool J?
Wait. Is this the kitchen scene?
Oh yeah.
Yes!
The fucking kitchen.
Yes! Oh man. I think LL Cool J was my favorite character in this.
Oh,
next to
I
the
disagree.
Bird. The Bird was by far my favorite character.
The Bird was the best character. LL Cool J.
The Bird.
No,
I love
he's
that.
so cringy.
I felt so bad about the Bird dying.
Yeah,
I know.
That's one. it's like that was the one character I wanted to see, survive the whole thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no,
oh my god. So let's set up the scene. Okay, so first off, again, the character goes into the oven to trick the creature. Where did you get that idea from? Anyways, the shark turns the oven on. This oven is halfway submerged in water. It has to plug into something, and the oven turns on. It works perfectly fine. So he curves out with a fire axe to the top end of the oven so he doesn't get cooked to death or eaten to death. Comes out of the hole, he drops his axe. I'm just like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Don't drop your axe. You still gotta kill the shark. He pulls out a lighter. And he says, oh, what's his one-liner? He said something really stupid. It's like, time to heat things up or something like that. Drops the lighter. Now, I know when you light something up near a room full of gas, it ignites, it combusts.
Yep.
Does it fucking explode? I don't think so. I want to question that. And then he explodes. LL Cool J somehow survives and it's that dumb 90s shit where it's just like, ooh, we're gonna slowly touch out the explosion in slow motion, just barely gonna miss it. And the shark dies. 2 sharks die from explosions. 2 sharks, not 1, but 2.
Also, if you look close enough on the sharks' faces, they have the most derpy expressions ever. They're like, oh?
Yeah, oh yeah, the shark literally turns and face like, oh? Just a fucking anger management. Yeah, I swear on my life, he literally turns around and is like, oh my god, like he knows what's gonna happen. He somehow knows that lighting a match is gonna fucking cause the room to explode. And LL Cool J is just fine. He's fine. But I disagree that he's the best character, though. He is terrible. He is unfunny. LL Cool J is not an actor. He's a rapper. Stop trying to make rappers actors.
He did have one funny line at the very end after they've survived everything is, take me back to the ghetto.
Yeah, that made me chuckle. I'll give you that.
Yes.
It's a terrible line. And I was just reading this. This is fascinating. Apparently, this was the first movie that Stephen King saw after his nearly fatal encounter with a van. He stated, my trip after being smacked by a van and almost killed was to the movies. I went in my wheelchair and loved every minute of it.
Yo, what, Stephen? I loved every minute of it, too. I love every minute of it. Let's talk about the characters and how all of them are unlikable, bland, and one-dimensional. The 2 leads, wow. They are so bland, so boring, so one-note. Like, there's literally nothing wrong with the main guy. There's literally nothing wrong with him. He can swim with sharks, he's ripped, he's handsome, he's a ladies' man. He knows so much about sharks, he's really smart. What's his character flaw? He doesn't have one single character flaw. And my first thought was, did he write this movie? Because this feels like a grade A vanity role, where it's like just nothing's wrong with them and all the ladies love them. I'm like, did he write this movie? He didn't, but I'm not entirely convinced he didn't, because that is a vanity role 101, and he's just the most boring, bland character imaginable. And any scene where he has to hook up with Dr. Exposition was just like, I don't want these 2 bland pieces of wallpaper paste to merge together to try and form some form of chemistry. Any scene they're together, I was just like, oh no, there's nothing happening here. Are we talking
about Bitch Face?
Oh no, we're talking about the British chick and Discount Duke Nukem. I don't remember the names. Just, they're so boring. Like, why are those the 2 lead characters? Like, they just have absolutely nothing to offer. Like, even if you're gonna rip off Jurassic Park, do it properly. Like, there's a scene where she's like, we made the sharks even smarter. Like, we thought it was the right thing to do at the time. Well, Jurassic Park did that. They offered, like, nuanced, interesting takes on the issue. That scene is just like, we did this, and they're like, you're a dumb bitch, you're wrong. And then they just move on. It's like, okay. Why'd you even bother with that beyond just being an exposition dump? And she's just there for exposition. And even Samuel Jackson, I disagree that he tries the best out of anyone, because he looked so bored. Outside of that speech, which is incredible, I'll admit, He's just so bored. Apparently, he wanted to be in this movie. Apparently, he was so eager to be in another Rennie Harlan movie, and especially a monster movie. But his passion doesn't show. Like, there's scenes where, like, the shark is breaking the window, and he's just super casually like, "Window's about to break. We better keep moving." I'm like, could you do any acting, Sam?
I mean, that's a clear indication of they don't know what they're reacting to. But
yeah.
then again, actors know how to act to things that aren't there, generally speaking.
They did that. But
this reminds me of another like kind of mid-tier sci-fi film that he was in at the time called Sphere. And there was like another connection to that film that this apparently has. There's this orange-colored mini-sub visible in the wet entry area. Was the same mini-sub in the end of Sphere, which also had Sam Jackson in it. So I'm just picturing him moving from that film to the other via that submarine. and he's just like the same character in both of them. I don't remember Sphere very well. I remember watching it once and I thought, okay, that was a movie.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't hold up to Deep Blue Sea, but
it wasn't as good as Cube. I think Cube was a better shape and movie.
I mean, yeah, it is better shape, so it's not really fair competition, is it? You know what?
Although
Jess,
none of them hold a candle to Triangle.
That's true. Yeah, Jess, I was shitting on this movie the whole time, so I want to give it some genuine compliments. Whenever like they use like practical effects or animatronics for the shark, it actually looks really good. Like, I've read some trivia that the male actor actually swam with the shark. Like, he actually did that stunt himself. And he did it for like long periods of time, and it got to a point where he's just like, okay, like he's just terrified the entire time, and he almost passed out because he just had to do it for so long. And he's like, "I'm right next to a live shark here, guys. Like, did we get it? Like, holy shit, what's happening here?"
Help!
Yeah, but also I feel like films like this kind of contribute a little too much to like the fear of sharks. I'm not saying to go dive in with a shark and say, "Hey, look, they're friendly." You know, don't be like Grizzly Man, but
don't
for
be
sharks.
Stupid,
but
yeah.
you know, they are animals, and generally speaking, most animals won't bother you.
But these are genetically modified sharks, Stefan.
Right, this is true. This is man tampering with the formula.
Yeah, they're Frankenstein sharks.
Yeah, yes, this is like Frankenstein's monster sharks.
Which you know, you could read this as an apt metaphor for what humanity has done to our perception of sharks.
There you go.
Modified them and made them more terrifying.
Yeah,
just because.
Yeah, you see, there you go.
I forget what they were trying to cure in pursuit of that, but
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. They were trying to get a cure for Alzheimer's.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second there. All right, so shark brains are different from human brains, right? So why do they think extracting brain of a shark to the brain fluid of a human will work? They're completely two different things. Like, there are two different stems of brains. There's different blood cells and different genetics that go into that. Like, you can't just mix the two together.
No, unless you want to have like mutant shark people.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know very much about biology. I'll say that off the bat.
I mean, the writers didn't either.
The writers of this knows about biology. I just remember that meme that shows what a human brain looks like next to a shark brain, and then the shark brain looks kind of like you know, the inner anatomy of a woman, you know, vagina, ovaries, and everything. And then the caption was, "Okay, officially, every time I get my period, it's called Shark Week." Which I thought was really funny.
That's
okay. That actually.
But holding off from shading on the film again, the production design of this film is awesome. Like, the sets look really cool, even though it's incredibly unsafe and impractical. Like, a lot of the stuff looks really cool, and they were flooding it, like actually flooding it constantly. Like, they're making points about like how many times they had to flood sets and drain them out, and flood sets and drain them out, and they'd get so badly damaged that they'd have to repair everything from scratch. So I really appreciate like all of that was done practically, and the sets look like really cool and really convincing. Like, the set on the surface in particular looks again incredibly unsafe but really cool. Like, Samuel Jackson literally says like it's like Alcatraz but in the middle of an ocean. And I looked at that, I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's a pretty apt description. It looks nice.
Floats.
There's some decent cinematography, and the CGI looks like shit, but it makes it funnier.
Yes.
It looks,
especially Derpy Shark.
Yeah. Also, Terminator 2 came out like 7 years before this movie. I just want that point made.
Wow.
Yeah. Jurassic Park was also made 5 years before. What's the budget of Deep Blue Sea? Let me check that real quick. I am very curious. The budget.
I imagine that. Well,
you know what?
Not only the budgets are very different, but I imagine the people behind them.
Okay, Deep Blue Sea, in fairness, only has $60 million budget, and Terminator 2 had $100 million budget. All right, so I'm willing to cut them a bit of slack there. So, my bad. Oh no, Jurassic Park has the same budget. You know what? Never mind. It doesn't get slack. It has the same budget. Wow. Yeah, well, 63 million. This has 60. It's not the exact same, but it's so close.
Well, yeah, you have to also consider inflation, but also, you got
it's not that much of a difference. Yeah.
It's but yeah, it shows what you can do with about the same amount of money in terms of the storytelling. And I think the strength of Jaws was that it focused more on the human characters rather than the fish itself, and really honed in on grounding that story, right?
Well, this movie is just a bunch of schlock.
Oh, very much so.
Let's talk about the music. Okay, the music.
What music?
I can't stress enough that the music sounds like epic trailer music. It's the most generic, most uplifting, most cheesy and unearned soundtrack. And every time I heard like triumphant music, like playing when LL Cool J just slowly rises out of the grave, I just burst out laughing. Like it doesn't earn anything it's going for in the soundtrack. It's just hilarious. Like you said,
yeah,
that's just how hard it tries.
Any of it. Yeah. But like I remember that just being like rap for like the end credits, and like, I can't think of anything else more fitting than this.
Yo, yeah, the licensed soundtrack is the most 90s thing ever. On top of all the outfits and Hawaiian shirts galore and tans galore. There's also like so much like 90s rap, and I was half expecting like Hadaway to play at some point, or just something along those lines.
I need to look up the soundtrack because oh boy.
Oh yeah, it's wild, that's for sure. This whole movie is wild and it's incredible, and I'm so happy we finally watched it. And I'm giving this piece of shit a 4.5 out of 10 with love. What about you guys?
I'm gonna give it a. Sorry, you go first.
I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10.
That's appropriate. I mean, but the fun factor is a 10 out of 10, but in actuality, the movie is a 4.5. What about you, Devon?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to give it a... I mean, I was going to give it a 6.9 for jokes. I will, just for the timing of the Sam Jackson death, that gets a 6.9. The rest of the film was mostly kind of forgettable, other than having some fun moments
Screw
here and there. It's more like I'll give it like a 3.4. Or no, I'm gonna one up you. I'm gonna give it a 4.2.
Hey, yeah. Also, fuck you. It's not forgettable. This movie is anything but forgettable.
Also, did you know that they literally made 2 sequels to Deep Blue Sea?
Yes,
I'm not even shitting you.
I saw that.
And apparently recently too, like very recently, like 2018 was when they did this second one.
2019 and then 2020.
Wow. So I think it's finally being. I think they're finally responding to the, I don't know, the cult classic hype. I guess. But I imagine the sequels hold up not very well, if at all.
It doesn't have the sweet 90s personality that made Deep Blue Sea special. Speaking of very special cinema, it's time for Shark Attack Free Megalodon. So
I is so angry.
Hold it. We'll get to that in a sec. So
just hold the vitriol for a minute. We have to objectively introduce the film.
So Shark Attack Free Megalodon is an insane movie that I found out for a great channel called Good Bad or Bad Bad, and I watched a few clips of it. I watched the first 10 minutes. I'm like, I gotta stop it right here and watch this movie. It feels like it came out in the 80s, but it came out in 2002 somehow. So I don't know what the first 2 shark attacks are about. They don't matter, because this film is where it's all at. 2 researchers discover a colossal shark's tooth off the Mexican coast, the worst fear surface. the most menacing beast to ever rule the waters is still alive and mercilessly feeding on anything that crosses its path. Also, Ryan Catrona plays the best character ever. John Barrowman doesn't live about pussy, and this film lives on in classic culture and so bad it's good cinema. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, I have found 2022's Tammy and the T-Rex. This film was a non-stop laugh riot for me, and I will gladly watch it again. I hope it comes on Blu-ray. We'll see. What do you guys think about Shark Attack 3?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was gonna mention Tammy and the T-Rex before. If you needed any proof that you do love some good schlock, and I will say, I found this film just so consistently terrible and hysterical that I just had a blast with it, personally speaking, just because of how consistently awful it was. It just was all the more fun for me.
But here's the thing, Tammy and the T-Rex is genuinely. I watched that for Valentine's Day with a friend of mine.
Romantic.
And we both loved it. We genuinely thought it was a really cute, really funny movie, and it was the gore cut too.
I mean, it is really funny. I'll give you that.
And because of Joe Bob, come on.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he's the best. But what do you think about Shark Attack 3?
I'm angry.
Why are you angry? What was wrong with it?
What part pissed you off the most? I'm curious.
Yeah, come on. What was the part in the movie where you're just like, fuck this, I'm out?
You destroyed Captain Jack for me.
Captain Jack?
Captain Jack hurt John Barrowman. I'm like, ah.
Oh, so
I'm like, I love him. Oh.
But what was the moment that destroyed John Barrowman in this movie?
Oh my god, I'm just like, did you just say that to a woman? Oh my god, what movie am I watching here?
You know, so that line that he says toward the end, this is the funniest line in the movie. It was him ad-libbing, and it was him trying to just make the crew laugh, and he was surprised that they kept it in the movie.
Yeah, not only did they keep it in the movie, it works. They're getting laid in the next scene. They're just fucking in the shower.
It just works.
Yeah.
Also, it has one of the best cross dissolves in cinema history. With the sun,
she orgasms and it crossfades into the sun. This is a early 2000s movie and not an 80s movie. I have to keep stressing how much this feels like an 80s movie. The outfits, the hair, the way that it was shot.
All the sex. Oh my god.
Oh,
you know what? This is something that was weird for me right up front, I have to say. There was like a beach scene, and there were some people who were topless on said beach while kids were running around.
Yeah! What the fuck was... Yeah, at first I thought, like, that was a nude beach, right? Like, clearly this is a nude beach. But then the dudes have their bathing suits on, and then there's children. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you shouldn't bring your children here. This is an adult section. Then I realized, they just wanted to show some tits. I mean, I forgot to mention in Deep Blue Sea...
Which normally I'm not opposed to, mind you.
No, when it's around minors...
There's a time and a place.
Yeah, there's a time and a place. We get a great sex scene when a couple make out, and they decide, hey, it's pitch dark out, and we don't have our bathing suits on. Let's go down, slip and slide. Make out all the way down, and land right into a shark's mouth.
That was so fun. The way people just get eaten, and it's like some of the worst compositing you've ever seen, of like people just getting swallowed into the same clip of the shark coming out of the water. It's literally the same clip.
Yeah,
and it's like it's not even in focus. Like the grain structure and the thing is just completely so off. And I mean, the gift that intrigued me was a death that's right at the very end, but you know, who cares? Where the guy literally ski-doos right into the open mouth of the shark.
Oh,
yeah,
I have to see this movie.
Yeah, and he's laughing. Why is he laughing? Like, I get you're a bad guy, I get that you're a dick, but why are you laughing now of all of your friends getting murdered? Also, let's talk about Devon. When you go on a boat, and you're afraid that there's a shark in the water, and you don't want him to ruin your party, you bring a little bit of insurance to take care of a shark. What do you bring to take care of a shark? What goes off the top of your head?
Shark spray.
Shark spray, maybe an axe, maybe a gun, or maybe a backpack full of fucking grenades. And then he's like, there's a point where like the bad guy's like, God damn it, we gotta do this. He blows up all of the grenades at once, blindly throws it in water. It says chew on that, which is incredible. And what were you doing? The shark wasn't exposed. He didn't have his mouth open. Now you're out of grenades. It's just he did that so that could happen. So, and also I'd like to point out that the ship was stationary. It wasn't falling over anything. Like it wasn't sinking. Everyone is just like, oh my fucking god, I gotta get off this boat. A shark in the water. Clearly, the boat was supposed to be sinking in that scene, but it couldn't be fucked to shoot it on a different angle or like actually sink the ship at all. So they couldn't afford to sink it. So they're just like, it's sinking, deal with it. It's just gonna be completely stationary, and we'll have people jumping into the water. We'll have someone steal a life vest and then jump directly into a shark's mouth. The same shot of the large shark like 20 times. They really milked that. They really thought, man, this is so fucking good, let's just use it for every scene, even if the composite doesn't work for it at all.
Oh, it's incredible, and not only is the compositing atrocious, but also we have to talk about the ADR.
Yes, the classic Godzilla tier ADR. So, fun fact: John Barrowman and the actor who plays Chuck Rampart, which we'll get into that glorious, beautiful motherfucker in a second, they are the only ones that came back to do their ADR. And man, you can tell. Anytime there's a Mexican character, I cannot stress enough how much it's just a white guy being like, hey, what you talking about, man? Like, if I did an accent impression of Amigo Montoya, it would sound better than the guys, like, playing as Mexicans, especially the boss. Whereas, like, he'll have his accent half the time, the other half he'll just, like, he'll go from, like, you need to take care of the problem. You were wrong. Like it's like that's clearly like a very different accent. He just gave up.
Yes.
The overdubbing is atrocious. I love even at the very beginning, like some of the older characters just having these, very voices. Just hysterical.
The fucking guy who plays the submarine commander was literally just like a guy in his early 20s trying to do it like the hard-boiled, like old man accent. Get over! Yeah, I got a cigarette in my mouth. It's like, yeah, that's clearly not who that is.
Okay. So I do have one positive thing to say about this movie. That shit made me laugh out fucking loud.
What, just off the ADR?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I was like,
yeah. I love the oh man, sorry, I was just watching a clip of all the deaths that happened, and there's that one girl that's parasailing and she just very slowly falls into the water.
The shark fucking grabs.
It's supposed to create dread and suspense, but it just starts giggling.
It looks so stupid.
It looks so silly.
Yeah, I know. And here's the thing: like they send one. How many people are on that boat, Devon? How many people are on that boat when they tried to help the parasailer?
Oh, so many. I mean...
Why is one person helping the girl? Why is there only one person helping her?
I mean, sadly, that seems kind of realistic. I mean, to give this film some credit, but... I gotta give credit where credit is due. I mean, it's... Oh, my God.
It's...
I'm just watching a compilation of all the deaths, and it's hysterical.
Yeah, let's talk about the best character. Let's talk about the best character. 90s Neil Breen, Chuck Rampart. Fucking badass motherfucker. He's had military experience. He's very hard-boiled. Knows how to ride a submarine. He knows how to hack. Yo, he's so good at hacking that he types 5 keys on a keyboard and 20 letters show up on the screen. He's just the best at everything. He is the greatest character ever, and every time like he was on screen, I was just like, yes! I want a movie about this guy. The way he says bull fucking shit in particular is just so good.
The way people just casually swear, it sounds like real life, but it sounds so out of place in a movie, and it's like
son of a bitch.
Like, or the one girl that after they tracked the shark successfully says, "Holy fucking shit, we got it!" And it's so funny. Just hearing her character say that for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just like no emphasis was.
Oh,
dude, the one guy that jumps off the boat to save himself, and he jumped right into the jaws of the shark.
Yeah. Oh god, so
that
good.
scene was
Also,
so.
Yeah,
Okay.
About Chuck
okay,
Rampart.
You know what? The more I think about this, the more I'm like, okay, this is just. Why did I not have an edible when I watched this?
Oh man, I should have been drinking. I should have been watching this for friends. It's so good. And keeping up about Chuck Rampart, you know, when you deal, yeah, it's like you work in the military for a while. Maybe a couple things you have are like some firearms, military uniform. And in your garage, maybe you'll just have a live torpedo, just a live torpedo, just sitting in your garage. And I love the reasoning for it. It's just like, why do you have this? It's like, I used to work in the military, so I figured this would be better than a scrapyard. A live torpedo in your garage is better than in a scrapyard? What the fuck? Do you know how dangerous that is? That's literally just a sea mine from Hot Fuzz. Like, it's so stupid. He has a live torpedo. And they use it to kill the shark. With the submarine set, by the way, is also fantastic. The wide open submarine with Mad Cat's controllers as the joystick and the keyboard to control the submarine. It's literally just like Mad Cat's cheap gaming 90s controllers.
Yes.
And John Barrowman comes while he's maneuvering the submarine because that's hilarious. He makes sex noises a lot. That's funny. I mean, it kind of is, and how it fails to be funny, but he's just, for some reason, he's like maneuvering it. It's like, like, why are you doing that? I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to be like, oh, easy, but he's like, he goes way harder than he should.
Have you ever seen that clip of the guy who's like doing a voiceover for bowling, and he just like creates the most orgasmic moan when the guy hits a strike, and it's just like, what the fuck?
That's exactly what that is. Yeah, that's
so funny.
Oh my god. And you were talking about casual swearing. The funniest example of that is when the pilot is carrying the chick around. She misses the crossbow, and he's just like, son of a bitch. It's like, that's the guy's reaction to missing like a crossbow that they need to kill a shark in a vital moment. Son of a bitch. Just the most casual son of a bitch.
I know, it's just like,
son of a beach. The guy in the helicopter was son of a beach.
No, that's too much emotion. It was funny. Just like, son of a bitch. Just
son of the beach.
Yeah, son of a beach.
That helicopter pilot was the funniest fucking one.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh no.
Jess, you're saying.
What would have made that line better is if he had a fake mustache. Son of a bitch.
So, I got the reference.
Son of a beach.
Son of a beach. Yeah. It's so good. And yeah, the filmmaking. There's lots of great filmmaking bits. They clearly use strawberry jam. After they beat the shit out of the shark and shoot it, they clearly just slather some strawberry jam on the wall. The stock footage is hilarious. The fucking swordfish, the stock footage is like, the color grading isn't even the same, and like there's no fishing rod or anything like that. It's so obviously stock footage when the old man is trying to reel him in at the start of the movie, and like the couple behind him is like doing a hand job, and while he's just like, oh yeah, this is fun. I'm like, okay, like literally your son's getting a handy right behind you. I'm pretty sure you can hear that. It's like, also, guys, it's a boat. You could go inside and do it. Like, why are you doing it outside right near your grandpa, you sick fucks? This movie is also extremely horny. When the two
Some people have this weird kinks, you know? They have to be exhibitionists.
You're right. I can't judge.
First, best description. This film needs to be bumped with a horny bat multiple times.
So many times. Also, there's this scene.
Just wait till you see gums.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense for it to be horny, though.
I had to suffer through teeth. Please.
Oh
no. I have not seen that one yet. I'm actually kind of terrified of that one.
No. Oh god. But speaking of the horny bat, like there's two like pervert characters that like oogled this chick, and normally like the joke in these kind of movies is like they'd oogle the chick and they'd be like, "Ah, get real," and ignore them. She's aware of what's happening, and she smiles and doesn't really stop it. Like there's a scene where it's like he's check out her ass, is like she's just casually like playing with your toys. I'm like, do you secretly want to fuck these guys? Like, this isn't how this gag is supposed to go.
I think she just likes the attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about that. Every scene, somebody has to point out that she's hot. Every scene, somebody has to point out that she's hot. Like the guys oogle over her. John Barrowman falls in love with her. His partner.
Just in case you forgot that this actress is attractive, they have to really they have to really verbalize it.
Yeah, and I kind of thought, like, did she have a hand in the screenplay? Was she just like, in this scene, I need everyone to tell me I'm hot. Okay, like just tell me I'm hot. It's like, okay, you have a huge ego problem, lady. We need like everybody in a shitty shark movie to tell you that you're hot. Because it's like every scene, I'm pretty sure like even Chuck Rampart like makes a comment about how attractive she is. And like how John Barrowman's lucky or something. God, Chuck Rampart is so like his wink is perfect. His spot. He's generally a good actor. Like he was on Mad Men, and he's fantastic on that. And he's been in tons of other stuff. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I guess you gotta start your career somewhere. You play the best character, so I'll give you that. It's just like in the scene where he's like confronting the guy and he reaches into his coat. I thought he was gonna pull out a gun. I legit thought he was gonna pull out a gun and shoot him. Which would have been not have surprised me in the slightest, but he pulls out a piece of paper. I was like, cock tease! God damn it. I was really hoping that would happen. Holy fuck, yeah, it's so funny. Like, there's just so much about this movie. Like, we talked about Pathfinder before, Devon, and that movie is just the worst example of a bad movie where it's just boring and bland and unfunny. This movie is full of personality, stupid, quotable, nonsensical, borderline asinine personality, and it is the best kind of bad movie there is. Let's rate it. What would you guys give Shark Attack Free Megalodon? Megalawho out of 10.
You already know what my rating is.
6.9.
Hell yeah.
So, Jess, how do you feel that he's giving this a higher rating than Deep Blue Sea?
You know what? I can honestly see the fun people have with this movie. I really wish I was high.
Yeah, I wish I was like a little bit hammered.
But both of these movies are movies that you watch with friends. You're inebriated and you're just having a good time. Watching it when you're by yourself can be a bit of a slog and kind of depressing. But when you're watching it with other friends and talking about it, it's a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I would literally give it 5 Megalodons covered in sticky strawberry jam.
That is the best rating we've had on this channel. Thank you so much, Jess, for joining us tonight. And thank you all for listening. You've been fantastic as usual. What's on schedule for next week, Devon?
Ooh. Next week, we enter the multiverse of Chadness. Which wasn't the title I originally pitched for that episode. It was something about lives on lead, and it was some eclectic idea of, the dread you feel when you feel like you're not living your full potential, and there's multiple versions of yourself that you're imagining or experiencing. Kind of existential, but Multiverse of Madness, that works too. It's a riff off of the Multiverse of Madness, which of course is the Doctor Strange film, which we are not reviewing, but I am planning on watching it anyway, just so I'm in on that conversation, and it thematically ties into the rest of these films that we are talking about. We will be going over films that explore, different conceptions of the multiverse, or people kind of living different lives in different realities. We will be looking at Mr. Nobody, starring the never disappointing Jared Leto. Also Cloud Atlas, which is a very interesting film from at the time, I think it was Wachowski siblings. They eventually became sisters and formerly were known as brothers. But anyway, I digress. And we will be capping it off with the much raved about and much hyped about film that I've definitely contributed to the much raving and hyping of, that is Everything Everywhere All at Once, starring the impeccable Michelle Yeoh, the return of Keiki Kwang, and directed, written, and also having bit roles in by the Daniels. That's Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinhardt. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to next week. I cannot contain my excitement for it, if you can't tell.
Yeah, I'm really excited
no,
too.
I think it'll be a really interesting episode. It can go many different ways. I'm gonna try to focus on the one, but yeah, I'm just feeling it splitting all sorts of different directions already. It might be a bit of an existential episode. We'll see, but I think that there's so much interesting things to talk about between these three films. So I can't wait to get into it.
Me neither. Thank you guys so much for listening, and as always, is it Thursday yet? Have a great night, guys. See ya. Everyone say goodbye.
Bye.